Yeah, so I did a fast mucho caffeino version um, to share on YouTube publicly, but just for the group. Let's break it down really quick. My parents are still visiting from out of town, so I don't have much time, but we'll get into it more later. I'll be free later in the day. If any premium members want to get on the phone to discuss the market or talk about strategy or whatever, I'll have some time today. I can set aside a few time slots to do phone calls with premium members if you guys need me. Anyway, so yeah, obviously got the breakout looking extremely bullish. All my short-term stuff, like I've been saying to the group, short-term stuff, all these entries, it's really hard to get the precision entries. I'm extraordinarily confident we are about to break out into a massive recovery pump. But it's too risky to get into the short-term stuff with a tight stop loss because there's just no way to predict those little quick wicks, and the market's just too aggressive and volatile, right? So my short-term stuff, I kind of stopped trying to make short-term trades and just focus on the long-term stuff. All of our altcoins that I've been getting into and accumulating for the last few days are in green. Some of them are up 30 or 40% already, which they're pumping really hard. Obviously, my BTC trade is killing it. That was the huge BTC position I took at the 222 EMA. I mean, I predicted pretty much the exact bottom. I thought we were going to go down to 42, but as I said in my last post in my majors chart section, I said even if we pump from 43K, we're still going to recover into a massive pump. So there's no way I'm going to wait to try to snipe a 42 entry when I could buy in at 43. It made no sense. So overall, we're doing really well. Now, as far as getting in, if you didn't make it in before, so the hourly model and the 4-hour model. Let's look at the shorter time frames. The Stoke models have been pretty locked in. They're starting to look much stronger now. The problem here is we're in the middle of the cloud. We're above the EMAs, above this trend line support. I don't think we're going to go back down to the bottom of the cloud. There's a chance we get rejected at the top of the cloud, come back down, probably not to the bottom of the cloud. If anything, we get rejected at the top of the cloud, come back down to this trend line support, right, that yellow line, and then bounce and then break through the top of the cloud on the next attempt. There's upwards of a 90% probability that we don't come back lower than that trend line support. So if that's the case, it's almost better to just buy in now, because if you were to buy in now and we were to dip from the top of the cloud, right? If it goes up to the top of the cloud and comes back down to the trend line support, you're still buying in at the same price. And if you buy in right now and it dips, we might come back down to the trend line support, maybe to the bottom of the cloud. So there's some risk that it could come lower. So it's hard to say. I mean, it's easy for me to say because I got in at the beginning of this pump, right? But if you missed out, you could buy in now. We're finally getting resistance, right? We have horizontal resistance here. But again, we have the Ichimoku cloud. We're in the middle of the cloud. We have the EMAs, the Ichimo dynamic supports from the EMAs, and the trendline support. So maybe we get a really small dip. Now, the 4-hour model does suggest that we need to come bleed off some momentum. But think about what happened like here. This attempt to break out, right? Look at the Stoke down here. We got this run up on the Stoke. Now, when that happened, follow the price. We had the run up on the price. Then we had a little dip on the price, and then the price continued up because what happened was the Stoke came back down as predicted, and then it reversed and went back up again. Now, we were still bearish here. We were in the overall correction here. So it made this early. It came back down on the. I'm moving on the Stoke here. The stochastic oscillator came back down, and then it got a bullish premature reversal and went up. But since we were in an overall correction still, and we were still overall bearish, that didn't hold. We didn't continue upwards. So we continued down with another bearish premature reversal. We could see the same thing here. We could see we come back down on the price, come back down on the Stoke, then we get a premature bullish reversal and turn back up. The difference is now I believe the correction's over. So now I don't think we're going to get one of those and then come back down. I think if we get one of those bullish reversals, we're just going to continue up. So I'm not too worried about the Stoke here, but it does indicate we're coming back down. Now we could come back down from right here. We're already getting a little bit of red candle action here. We could come back down before getting to the top of the cloud because look, I have that key horizontal resistance at that red line. I mean, that is exactly where we are right now. So that hit pretty perfectly. When my resistance levels, my support levels on the chart are that accurate with that level of precision, I usually trust them. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. I was obviously spot on identifying that horizontal resistance. So if it's holding that well at that resistance level, let's trust it. And let's say, all right, it's not going to get above that right now, has to come back down a little bit. So if we were to wait to buy, I'm just trying to think of how far we could come down. I really think between all the support here, We have the EMAs, we have the trendline support and the bottom of the cloud. I really don't think we're going to go lower, but it's probably a good idea to wait it out. If it breaks above this resistance, you could always buy in, right? So you could buy in, if it breaks 50K, you could buy in just above 50K, like 5,100, and then see what happens. But if you buy in here and it goes lower, you will have missed out. So it might be better to wait, see if it comes back down here to like 47.5, 47.6 to the bottom of the cloud. Because if we get one final dip to the bottom of the cloud before we push up, that would be the best precision entry right at the bottom of the cloud. So I would probably do that. You're always going to be taking more risk when you're getting in after the pump when you missed the initial entry, obviously. So right now it's just a function of trying to figure out what the best scenario is, the lowest risk scenario where you can get the lowest potential entry. If we look at the daily, we do have the bullish confirmation on the Stoke reversal. Again, the last time this happened was before the last big leg up, right? So this tells me we're going to see at a minimum a 6 to 10 day bull run. The only way that this bull run doesn't take us to all-time highs is if there's an absolute full court blitz. There's got to be a full court press on media and stuff. We're going to have to see players in the financials game. We're going to see TV and social media. There's going to be a total blitz. Maybe the Fed will come out with some news. There has to be very strong FUD to stop this bullish trend. It's extraordinarily strong, extraordinarily bullish. All of my models concur. We have confluence across all time frames. The only way they're stopping this movement is if they pull some magic trick out of their ass and manage to spook the market and cause some people to sell off or at least to stop buying. Again, I've been saying the entire time, just for people who are newer to trading, I said, don't worry, this is normal. We're getting a normal correction. Look at the video I posted back in 2018 or 2019. I did a video where I said the whole crypto Twitter community was freaking out over these corrections. I'm like, guys, chill the fuck out. If you've been around since 2017, you should know this. And if you don't, if you're newer, here's the deal. Corrections happen. They're normal. We're going to have 10, 20, 30% dips on the way up. And then I went back to the 2017 run up when we went parabolic, and I showed everybody those dips. We had some dips that are like 50 or 60% before we continued up another 200%. So it's completely normal. Right here, we are in such a strong support position that the probability of this correction continuing down is nothing. It's like 3%. So I'm officially calling the end of the correction. This pump is not a flash in the pan. This is the recovery pump. If we get down to a newer low, there has to be some like really bad news, or the Fed is coming to just some of these scheming scumbags, big players are going to pull something out of their ass to make that happen, because there's just no way this market wants to stop. That momentum shift on the daily stock oscillator, there is so much momentum driving in right now. This thing wants to absolutely launch. So that's what I would do. Short-term timing into BTC. Again, focus on the cloud. Look at the bottom of the cloud and that trend line support. Again, we're dipping here just like I said. So let's see how far we can come down. Maybe we get 2 candles to cool off, or 3 candles. That would be great, because that would give the stock a chance to come back down and reset to the 60s probably. Kind of like what happened that last time here where we came back down and the stock reset to pretty much right around 60. So that's that. I'll do an update later on BTC. And then as for the alts, again, my longer term stuff, like ORN, where I had gotten into these trades much higher, right, over $12, where I was down, but then that 4-hour model came in like a sledgehammer. That 55 dynamic support just blasted us back off. That Ichima dynamic support clutch. So now I'm sitting on probably about 11% profit, maybe. Whoops. Let's see. 13% profit right now, from my ORN entry. So again, these ones that I was down on are now all killing it. Same with RVN is absolutely crushing it. RVN, I am sitting on 20% profit. In fact, I had bought some lower down after it dumped. If you remember, I posted in my long-term trades channel when I added to like KSM and RVN. So my average entry price is actually lower than that. So yeah, sitting on a really nice profit now. on the long hold alt. Same with IOTX. I don't think I do have it on my chart. Check this out. So on IOTX, I'm sitting on, well, the whole breakout was like 27%, and I'm still at 20% profit right now. So I did really well on the altcoins. Now, right now we're seeing a similar formation with the Stoke getting to that overbought range, where we are going to come back down on the Stoke. We already have started that process right here on IOTX and a lot of the others. I'm not going to do anything crazy. I could sell and take some profit right now, but I'm just going to ride it out. We have the daily reversal and everything. This is so aggressively bullish that I'm willing to risk it. I would rather not sell at all and just hold and trust that this market is going to give us a short-term dip based on the 4-hour model. Then when the 4-hour model reverses bullish again, that daily model is still intact, and that's going to take over. So in the case of IOTX, this is going to drive us up to 3 cents. We're going to go after this dip. We're going to shoot up to 3 cents, and we're going to see the same thing on all the alts. That's what I strongly, strongly anticipate is we're going to see a very aggressive bull run on the alts after we get a short-term dip. Same thing with BTC. We're seeing BTC and Ethereum break out to the same level, so I'm not saying one's better than the other, but Ethereum also has looked really strong. But I'm going to stick to BTC. Ethereum right now is against. If anything, Ethereum is more helpful for analysis because we can see on the 4-hour model we have the EMA dynamic resistance, 222 EMA, 55 EMA. We're coming up against that, just like we're coming up against my horizontal resistance on BTC. So this is the perfect time for the dip again. Like this is flawless. If I was doing short-term trades with this stuff instead of longer-term holds, I would absolutely sell right now. I would sell right now, buy back lower. Because look at my model, right? We have 55 and the 222 EMA and the bottom of the cloud. Well, bottom of the cloud's up there, I guess. Okay, so the EMA is right here on Ethereum is telling me rejection. The Stoke is overbought and turning down, telling me reversal, short-term correction. So I'm extraordinarily confident that we are going to dip here. I just don't know how much. And since the market is so bullish, I don't want to sell my mid or longer term holds and then miss out because we get a short dip before we explode up. So I'm just going to trust it. I'm going to hold since we have that bullish daily model. If that daily model hadn't crossed bullish confirmation yet, if it still looked like this correction could continue downward more, I wouldn't trust it. I would sell. I would take all my profits now, and I would wait until we got to the bottom of the next dip, and then I would get back in. Or if we got out of that dip early and we pumped aggressively, I could always FOMO back in. But given how bullish we are with that daily model, I'm just going to trust it. Again, short term, I'm very confident we're coming back down. It's just impossible to say how far. We are just so bullish right now. This breakout recovery looks so strong that it's really, really hard to predict when this is going to bottom out. But if you haven't gotten in yet, I would definitely wait and just watch closely. Set some notifications. If Ethereum gets back down to 1515, below that, there's 1515 resistance. If it gets below 1500, so if it gets down to 1490, 1495, that may be a good time to get in a little bit, depending on how far the Stoke comes down. We essentially want the Stoke to get back down below 75, definitely below 80. We want it to be out of overbought range. So keep an eye on those things. I'll set some alerts myself, and as things happen, I'll notify you guys if I feel like there's a change or if I feel like we're probably getting to the bottom of the dip. But I don't expect the Stoke to come all the way back down. Like, most of the time we have a Stoke wave up and a Stoke wave down. A Stoke wave up. I don't think this is going to correct the Stoke all the way back down into that oversold range. I think this is going to be a short dip on the Stoke before we reverse and break right through all these key resistance levels on BTC and Ethereum. Okay, that's it. Slap like now.